Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the Lincoln seat project. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of light disassembly on the Lincoln seats and deploying an airbag. And on the Mercedes seat, I'm going to try to get it all the way back together and blow an airbag on it too. So let's get started. Let's start with the Mercedes seat, trying to get it buttoned up. Last week I was able to get the electrical stuff all figured out. I've got the heated seat control switch mounted nicely on the trim. I've got it tucked up under the seat, all the wiring tucked up under the seat nicely. And if we look at the power supply, on low it's pulling about 1.5 amps, and on high we're pulling about 5.4 amps. So that's about what it should be doing. The next thing to do is kind of finish up the back of the seat. I had the seat back off of it so that I could remove the airbag, but that left me with a big dent in the side of the seat, and with the side cover on, or with the back cover on it, it leaves a huge gap. And even though it's going to be a garage seat, I still don't want it looking shitty. So what I'm going to do, I've got the airbag module here, and I'm going to pop the airbag and then tape the cover back over it and stick it back in the seat so that it at least fills the gap, so I don't have a big dent in the side of the seat. So that'll be fun. I'll do that in a second. And then at the same time, I've got the retracting seat belt. I'll pop it at the same time too. And once that's done and I've got the empty module back in the seat, I'll screw the back cover back on, and I need to find this trim piece here. I'm sure there's some on eBay, so I'll grab one of those for cheap. Once I get that stuff done, I'll just sit this on a shelf in the back until I'm ready to start on the frames. I found out something very interesting. The seat track on the Mercedes seats is exactly the same size as the seat track for the Lincoln seats. I'm going to use it as kind of a test bed for doing a few different methods for making the seat frames. I'm going to try to do something a little more interesting than what I did on the Chrysler seats that I made 10 years ago, which was just kind of hacking together some square tubing and then welding it together. I'll try to make something a little more elegant here. But let's pop some airbags. I'm going to go ahead and start with the seatbelt buckle. It has a little charge in it here, and when it fires it forces a pin this way, and you can see a cable in here, hopefully, and it runs up to the buckle itself, and when the pin fires that way, it retracts the buckle, and it acts as a pretensioner when you're in an accident. And I've just got it connected with some banana clips over here to my power supply. This thing shouldn't go anywhere. I doubt it'll go anywhere, and it shouldn't be too loud. It's a small charge. So I'll just kind of stand off to the side here and fire it. So let's see what happens when I kick on my power supply. It's actually a lot louder than I thought it would be, but it worked as intended. It fired the pin, it pulled the buckle down, and that's what you end up with. But let's get the side impact bag set up now, and we can pop it too. Got it alligator clipped together over to my power supply. And as a disclaimer, do not under any circumstances play with airbags. They can be dangerous, and you will probably hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing. As a occupation, I do a lot of airbag deployments through my work, and they're definitely loud. They can be dangerous, so do not play with them if you don't know what you're doing. So having said that, I'm going to play with some airbags. Now for this one, because I don't know what it's going to do, I'm going to hide around the corner. And I have hearing protection for this one because it's probably going to be pretty loud. So I'm just going to set the camera over here and step around the corner. Well, that was definitely loud, and all the neighborhood dogs are barking now. So here's what we have, and a lot of times if people get into accidents and they see the smoke, they think the car is on fire. It is not on fire. It is just the byproducts of the explosion in the airbag. Because it is an explosion, if you're working around these, do not touch any part of the airbag because it is very, 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 very hot. And here's what we've got. It's actually a pretty small airbag. That won't really cover much of your side in an accident. But it must have the ML must have a pretty large head bag to cover down past your shoulders. So I think we'll just leave this here to cool for a while. All right, well, the airbag inflator has cooled off. I've gone ahead and pulled it out of the case. I was gonna cut the cover off of it, but I didn't know that it's pretty much, you just pull it out of the bottom and unhook it and you can just take the case out. So I'll just tape this up and I can shove it in the side of the seat to take up that divot that's in the side of the seat. But if we want to look a little closer at the airbag itself, you've got a canister here that's inside the cushion, and that's what holds the charge. And then 2 pins here, and this is a single stage, so it just has one charge in it. Like a driver airbag or a passenger airbag, those have dual stages, so you'll see 2 of these connectors next to each other, and depending on the severity of the accident, it'll fire one or both, or it'll fire one and then delay for a few milliseconds and then fire the other one, just depending on the accident. But that's pretty much all there is to an airbag. It's just an explosion and it fills up a nylon sack, and that is what's supposed to keep you from hopefully getting severely injured in an accident. Let's see if we've got a manufacturer on this. And on the back side of the cover, we've got TRW, which is one of the big ones. You got like TRW ZF. They do a lot of seat belts. I think that's what the seatbelt buckle was. And you've got JSS, Joyce and Safety Systems, KSS, Key Safety Systems. Takata's still kind of around. And also you have Autoliv. So those are kind of the big ones that I've seen working with my German car projects and my Tesla projects. And this one, I'll probably have to get the inflator out before I can see who makes it, but I would assume that it's one of those major companies. Now that I've got the case out, I'll go ahead and finish up this Mercedes seat. Okay, and besides this trim piece on the side, this seat is functionally done until I get to the seat frame. Now let's get the Lincoln seat up here and take a look at it. Alright, if we take a look at the Lincoln seats, I've already preemptively removed the back cover to the driver's seat, just so I could see how it came apart and to try to not destroy anything on the passenger seat before I disassemble it. It's actually pretty simple. You just undo 2 elastic straps on the Scarpa piece that wraps under the seat bottom, and you just give it a yank to unclip these 2 clips on the bottom of the seat, and they're in there pretty good. You have to give it a good yank, and then you just work your fingers all the way around each side to unclip it from the sides of the seat, and then it just unhooks from the top and unclips here from the bottom of the headrest. Alright, let's see if we can get this off. Looks like this was already unclipped. That's part of the work done already. There's no screws in it anywhere. Well, the problem is if I can actually get a good enough grip on it to unclip these bottom 2. Those are really in there. They'll pop out partway, but they've got little barbs on them that dig into the plastic. May have come out. try to disengage the cover. There we go. And just rotate it down, unclip it from the headrest. There we go. It has these little blue clips that really grab on. But we unclipped everything. And nothing looks damaged, so that's good. Can reuse that cover with no problems. And we can see the undeployed airbag over here. Ah, that's an auto-live airbag. Okay. If we come around the back side, we can take a look at how this attaches. So the airbag, we've got two nuts. There's a stud and two nuts right here, and I think that's all that attaches it. So I need to figure out if I want to blow it on the seat or take it off. With the side cover off of it, I don't think it's going to do any damage to the seat, but still I don't want to take the chance of it catching on like the side of this plastic and breaking it or like marring the seat. So I have to figure out which harness this is too. So got the plug here, it runs through, so it must be this harness. I can just clip it here, pull the airbag out. In general, airbags can be dangerous because obviously it's an explosive, but I've seen whole pallets of airbags fall off of like the second story rack at work and nothing happens. So they're pretty stable. You just got to keep static electricity away from them, because it doesn't take much to blow one of these, like a few milliamps, and it can blow one. But let's see if I can easily take it out. And there's our side airbag. Let's undo the wiring here, and I can get it ready to deploy and piss off the neighbors. Now, one thing to note, if you're ever working on anything electrical in a car, if you come across a twisted wire pair, that means it's something safety related. So don't screw around with that too much. So all I need to do is strip the wires, and then we'll hook it up to the power supply and do the same as we did with the other one. Alright, I've got my hearing protection on. Let's fire this one off as I hide around the corner. And that's why you always hide behind something, because you don't know where it's going to go. That one ended up in the garage behind me. If we take a look, we've got a vent hole back here, and the inflator actually came off of it. Oh shit! See, the inflators are very hot. It burned a hole through my wire lead here. That sucks. I'll have to fix that. But yeah, it's just a gas generator. You give it power, it fires. The gas comes out of the little holes here. I don't want to touch it, but the gas comes out of the holes, fills the bag, and then you have a supplemental safety restraint. While I let that module cool, we'll take a look at the internals of the seat here. We've got a wire harness up here that runs to the motor for the headrest for up, down, in and out. And you've got the tracks that the motor runs up and down. We've got, looks like a reinforcement bar that runs around here. We've got a blower motor for the ventilated seats. We have a small motor here that I'm guessing runs the lumbar. Has a cable that comes out of it and runs over here. So I'm guessing when you activate the motor, it squeezes these two bars in and out, which forces the seat back in and out. Then we've got a motor over here, which looks like that's for the full seat recline. And one here that goes to a bar here, which goes to the reinforcement here. So this probably moves the upper half of the seat in and out. That's pretty much all we can see here, and then just the wire harness that goes down under here. So let me turn the seat around and flip it over so we can see the underside. Now from the underside, we've got a hot mess of electrical going on. Alright, so we've got a plug here and a plug here that come from the car. And I'm guessing a lot of this is probably not used for what I need. Probably have like a lot of the safety stuff in here, and then like I spoke about in the first video, there's only one wire. It appears there's only one wire that goes from the switch cluster to the seat controller, and that's this. And then all of these, I'm assuming almost all of these are outputs to the various motors and blowers and everything like that. Yeah, I definitely need that wire diagram to figure this mess out. So we got another blower there. That's probably a motor. That's a motor for the seat track forward and back. That's a motor for up, down. This looks like a limit switch, probably for the seat track. And then there should be another motor in the back. It must be hidden under some stuff. There should be a motor in the back that runs the back half of the seat up, down. Yeah, I'll find that at some point. And then you might not be able to see it, but each of these bolsters has, each of the thigh bolsters have a motor in them and like a worm gear that runs them in and out. So after looking at this mess, it would be really nice if that LIN bus wire running to the controller would control everything. That would be really nice. If that doesn't work, then I'm probably going to have to pull the wire harness out and cut it open and figure out which wire is going to what, and then just directly wire the motors. But that'll be a project for another day. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to keep up with this project.